Up next, the Frank Factor
on In Your Face Radio.
The Frank Factor contains language that may not be suitable for f***ing c***s.
From studio somewhere, straight to your brain, it's the Frank Factor.
All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome to this edition of the Frank Factor. Hope you're doing well. I am. Hanging in there. As usual. As you might expect, the one of the basic topics du jour is fucking Israel. The Israel-Palestinian conflict. I posted on Facebook. I posted Jimmy Dore's last podcast from August 1st, and I hope you get a chance to have a listen. Jimmy Dore, if you're trying to look it up. It's a great show, but within it, in particular, there's a segment where Jimmy goes after that stupid son of a bitch from one of the Sunday morning shows. What is it, David Gregory? Yeah, crushes David Gregory. I don't watch those. I haven't watched those in years. And it's funny, too, because I used to. That's scary. That's a scary thought. Those things are strictly propaganda outlets. That's where everybody gets to pitch their bullshit. And it has this pseudo-intellectual kind of air, this atmosphere, brought to you by ADM. I don't know, do they still have that? Is Archer Daniels Midland still their sponsor? It's if you may recall, fucking Dick Cheney used to get on there and he used to sell his horse shit on there. We know where Saddam Hussein has weapons of mass destruction, and he can barely be bothered to raise his voice when he talks because he doesn't give a shit about you anyway. Yeah, that's a place where you go and you fucking posture and shoot the shit and do whatever damage control you have to do and sow whatever seeds of horse shit you need to sow. And, of course, lately, it's a frenzy everywhere, trying to cover up the fact that the United States and Israel are engaged in genocide, a form of genocide, I suppose, which, as you know, I posted another comment about this, which I thought was ironic in a kind of a horrible and macabre way, is that it's interesting to me that a Jew could possibly think that if you just torture and murder and terrorize a religious sect, that eventually they'll just give up and act right. There seems to be a glaring precedent that had been set by someone else who tried to do something similar to that. Of course, he was less covert about it. But what we have here, what's being done right now in America, in my opinion, is that it's a massive mindfuck. And dare I say it, let's understand something. There's this thing where people just say you can't talk about the Nazis anymore because it's just unfair to use them as an analogy. But I think that's unfair, and I think it's dangerous, and I think you really should think about the Nazis, and you really should think about what happened in Germany at that time. There are things, very, very, very important things to be learned from that we should take to heart and learn from. But as you can see, mostly what we learn from that is how to do it better. Because what we're going to do now is we're going to control the message the same way. We're going to utilize all this freedom of speech that we have, and this great media that's driven by market forces, and thereby becomes just a trustworthy font of knowledge, facts, and information, right? Because that's the best way to do that. And we're gonna use what we have today. The internet, which is another interesting thing, with all the power of the internet, this stuff is so deeply effective still that it's frightening, to me anyway. People still watch bullshit on television, and when they're addicted to bullshit, they just seek it out on the internet. It doesn't really, the crossover effect of having information available on the internet is not really working all that well, in my opinion. And then again, the internet itself is going to be, if it isn't already, exploited to become another propaganda arm for those with the financial wherewithal to control information. This has to happen. This is how capitalism works. It's the foundational principle of capitalism, where money makes everything right, and money is free speech. We've already determined that. Or money is speech. It's just ridiculous to try to throw the word free in that analogy. But money and corporations are people, and by virtue of their status as invincible, untouchable, irresponsible, greed-driven entities with massive fortunes, we are supposed to believe every day that that's okay, and we all have a fair shake here, and it's freedom of speech. You can stand up on your little fucking soapbox and scream at the clouds, and that's the same as owning almost all of the electronic media on the planet. There's no difference there. So pervasive is the horseshit that people buy and understand and swallow, especially in this country. I don't know if it works everywhere. You know, when you live in America, you live in on the plantation, so you don't really know what the fuck is really going on anywhere else except what you're told. We are bounded all the way around on our sort of island of bullshit, and this is how we live. And as long as we can buy shit, which is rapidly dwindling, our capacity to buy garbage that's supposed to make everybody happy. But we have the credit thing to prop that up so we can all pretend like we have money. It's a mess. It's a fucking mess. But I digress. I was talking about the tenuous and dangerous analogy of using the Nazi Germany and what is happening in Gaza. Well, here's now. I'm not a historian. I'm just a guy, and I'm not a news guy. I'm not sitting here like that cunt Sean Hannity. This is commentary. This isn't news. I'm not here as a. I'm not a journalist. I'm not. That's not my forte. That's not my function. I'm making observations and suggesting to you. It's for you to use it on your own. You think it through. But I think that what's happening now is a insidious, pervasive mind fuck of propaganda that is working out very favorably for the wrong kinds of people, wrong kinds of ideas, not people, ideas. Because I'm not sure. I mean, I'm kind of surprised in a way at how a lot of people aren't buying this horse shit. You know, that you can wall in a little prison land, control the amount of calories that go into it, not let people out of it, strangle them, control it's essentially a prison camp, and then cry like a bitch when a radical faction who's basically probably enjoying the success it's enjoying from the people, if it is at all, because they're fucking trapped and desperate, and because they don't have an army, they don't have any of the fucking resources, especially as Israel, because as you know, America's there to lick their ballsack. And it's hideous. With all of the shit that our that's done in our name, that has been done over the centuries, but in modern and recent history, this is right up there with some of the worst behavior ever. You know, we're supposed to cry all day about some fucking welfare misuse of funds. Meanwhile, billionaires fuck this country up the ass against its will and against its better interest. An infrastructure that's crumbling, a school system that blows chunks, people that can't get jobs, a stagnant fucking economy, minimum wage that's been the same for the last 50 years, and prices that continue to rise. But it's all, that's impossible to help. What can you do? Meanwhile, we will shovel fucking pallet loads of cash around the planet and into the coffers of military industrial complex vampires. But if you talk about this, you're crazy. Oh, why do you hate America? Why do you hate puppy dogs and rainbows and unicorns? And why do you have to be such a naysayer? Why don't you love America? These things matter to some people. A lot of us are fortunate. Hey, I'm sitting in my room. I've got, a computer and a guitars and stuff. And I live, every day we have to cut our expenses because our utilities are continuing to increase. The cost of everything goes up, but I just don't spend money. We are just not going to spend money on things anymore. We have to continue to eliminate things from our budget. And this is the stupidity, the fucking psychopathic stupidity of the power brokers in this country. They want to strangle the very people that make this fucking thing work for them. But they're fucking psychopaths. And those same psychopaths have politicians that answer to them because they pay their way. It's all pay to play here. And you've got a great big bunch of these fucking idiots that think that nothing can go wrong as long as greed is at the base of all decisions. A fucking moronic idea that never fails to find people to just jump on the bandwagon and wave the flag. Libertarians in particular. So here we are, you and I, as I look at this thing unfolding, they are slaughtering people. And they are the ones with the power, the upper hand, the greater responsibility to behave responsibly and humanely, the Israelis and the Americans, and they're not. And they're not going to because they don't want to. They know exactly what they're doing, and they don't give a fuck, because just like our invasion into Iraq, we don't give a fuck about you people. We will kill you. And all this window dressing, we're bringing democracy. We bring our will to you. You do it or die. That is the freedom that America exports. And so does Israel. And you add to that this religious horseshit, which unfortunately, I don't know that Netanyahu is all that interested in his faith. Maybe he is. But if he is, it's all just more bullshit. It all just makes it more complicated and harder to deal with. And the same for the Palestinians. Because, you got Sam Harris and everybody over here that hates the fucking Muslims. Look, I have a very high disregard for all superstitions. But these are human fucking beings. And not everybody that lives in that little prison camp in Israel is a fucking radical, murderous, fucking crazy Muslim that deserves to die. It's the same as saying that everybody here is a fucking insane abortion doctor murdering nutbag religious right-wing fuckface. We're not. Hey, we'll be right back after these brief messages. Please stay with me. You're listening to The Frank Factor on Your Face Radio.
In Your Face Radio, beating conservative ideology to a bloody pulp. Political talk.
Look at Rick Santorum walking around going, these are my roots, damn it. We are the salt of the earth. We are the Americans they're talking about. Fuck that shit. You're full of crap.
Without all the bullshit. InYourFaceRadio.net. The Scream Cafe with Grobeck. Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern on In Your Face Radio.
Me, a cat, moving in with a new human. It took a little getting used to. She has these weird games she likes to play, like this giant feather. She sticks it in my face. I swat it away. She sticks it in my face. I swat it away. It's almost like she thinks I enjoy it. But seeing how much fun she gets out of it, well, I guess it makes it all worth it. Humans.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
Wake up, goddammit!
This is Sensei Gregory C. Lewis from allpowertothepositive.info, and you're listening to The Frank Factor.
All right, we're back. I'd want to tell you, like, if you get a chance to listen to that Jimmy Dore thing, and this is part of why I don't watch this shit, because I have to control the input into my brain. Some of this stuff just really, I mean, it gets to me. You know what I mean? But what you're going to hear is David Gregory, Dick Gregory, God bless him, not David Gregory. David Gregory is going to fucking present this bullshit video, this unfucking vetted bullshit video over and over, and say that sources, it is, you know, how, I don't know how they do that, where they say shit without saying it. You know, basically he's saying, this could be total bullshit, but I'm just going to present it like it's not, over and over again, about rockets being flown into Israel. And then by the end of the show, he does a little disclaimer on the way out while everybody's, you know, turning it off or switched to another show or what have you. Oh, by the way, that the UN says that was a bullshit video. Okay, bye. And so this kind of thing goes on constantly. And if you've seen the videos from what's his name? Russell Brand and the Trues. You know, I get all that shit. You know, Russell's got money. Beware the man who tells you not to vote and all that horse shit. But I'm just not that paranoid about that. He has no need to get involved in any of this shit. I think it comes from a place where he actually fucking gives a shit. That's all I have to say about that. Anyway, he talks about, he takes Sean Hannity to task on his bullshit. And Sean Hannity, being the putz that he is, the little weasel, he went after Russell. And it's interesting, because they're such monkeys over there at Fox. It is so, they have jumped the shark many, many times over. When you think they can't possibly get any worse, they just do. There is no bottom to what that kind of, you know, that's the front line of the bullshit. Fox News is the front line. Everybody else is meant to fill in the blanks. You know, you got these pseudo middle of the road moderates who love to go to CNN, and then you got your quote unquote progressives who go to fucking MSNBC. Now, if I were part of the fucking controllers of this country and I was a sick fuck, I would utilize that to my best interest by corralling people in the direction that I want them to go, in the way that works the best considering the audience. You know what I'm saying? This is the same thing I'm saying about the Democratic Party. These people are infected by money and greed and a kind of American royalty. It's such an apropos way to think of how we do things here now. We have a new royalty. It is the financial royalty of America. You and I are their subjects. They run the country. There's still room for them to sort of tie it up and put a bow on it. They're still afraid of actual sane people fucking it up for them, that's just another thing that's amazing to me. Here you have some of the richest people on the planet, and they're scared. Like the Kochs, they're afraid. They have to invest and engage in beating back what they feel is a threat to the freedom and sanity of America. From us. From us. I mean, I don't know how much shit the Koch brothers are involved in, how many products they sell and push to Americans, and all the money, more money than you could spend in several lifetimes, and they're afraid of us. That is a sick motherfucker. And that doesn't even begin to touch all the little peons, like your friends on Facebook, who've devolved into these right-wing market defending douchebags that I consider Obama to be, they consider Obama to be a communist, and that America's sliding into communism. Those guys and gals. It's a real mess. It's a real mess. And actually the royalty is succeeding. They're doing a great job. I mean, I know they're sorry. They're pissed because things aren't working fast enough for them, but they've got a good thing going here. And I'm pretty fucking sure that when the presidential election comes up again, they will not be, they'll cry. They will weep and they'll be gnashing of teeth because it's their second stringer and not their first stringer that gets the job. But we'll all lose, and we will all rejoice because instead of the 10 concentration camps, we'll get 5. And everybody will say, hey, well, you got to be practical. You got to be pragmatic. I'm an American. I can't really change anything, so I just settle for the lesser shitty of things, the lesser evil, and pat myself on the back and high five each other and say, hey, what can you do? The Democratic Party. Hey, what can you do? That's the slogan. Lean forward. Don't push. Don't run. Don't walk fast. Lean. Just lean forward. The dumbest goddamn fucking slogan ever. But hey, lean forward so that the Republicans can kick you straight in your fucking chin and take it like a champ. Sell out, bow, compromise, let them win. Ultimately, they win. You lose. But that's the kind of country America is. I have had many misconceptions about what I thought America was going to become at this stage in my life as I'm entering the 9th inning, the 8th inning here. I really didn't think this was going to happen. And I really thought the internet was going to affect people much differently than this. Because I remember the beginning of the internet where everybody didn't have access. I mean, I hate to say it, but when phones and kids and every fucking body got the internet, go look at fucking YouTube. Just go look at it. Try to read a comment. Try to decipher it for one thing. And see if you can understand what the fuck the words and letters are strung together, if they form a coherent goddamn sentence. And look at what we've got here. And this again ties to our value system, our educational system, the kind of message we send to people here. This is your rugged individualism, which is basically a consumer trap, where you live under the foot of capitalist pressures that's supposed to be so freeing of everybody. And, I can't get these cunts to understand that I'm not trying to create a communist society here. I just want a better country. There are countries right now that do shit better than we do, but we can't know about that. We can't know because we got serious bullshit we got to deliver here. We got to keep the fucking light out of the fucking box and just control the whole environment here. Yeah, because Gaza is the problem. The $500 rockets that can't hit anything, that occasionally get lobbed over there, while Israel fucking bombs the very places that are the only places they can fucking evacuate to, and claims what could they do? That reminds me, Jimmy Dore had a thing. He's like, it's like the hostage comes out of the bank with a gun the robber comes out of the bank with a hostage and the gun to the head. And Israel and America are like, oh, take out the hostage so we can fucking kill the guy. It's like they don't even think twice about it. Hey, and they blame you. Hey, what can we do? What can we do? We had a hostage. You got to kill him. Got to fuck him up. Oh, well, it's that time again. Yes, sir. Let me get into the mood. It's time for Joy's 5 things. What has Joy got for us today? If you would like to connect with Joy, who doesn't want to connect with Joy? You can connect with Joy at facebook.com/Joy's Noise. No Z's. Spell it like you went to school. Let's get started, shall we? Number 1. Corporate inversion is when a corporation acquires an offshore company so that it can pretend to be foreign in order to avoid paying U.S. taxes. In other words, it's like one of these sexual positions where it's a lot more fun for the fucker than it is for the fuckee. Number 2. I shudder to think of the other lawsuits that SCOTUS is going to let its favored pet religion opt out of. Number 3. As our empire contracts, will it make a sound? Like a snap or a burp, a frack. Because the only sound so far is the snarling laughter of Dick Cheney and the Koch brothers. Number 4. The Jewish people say, never forget. But the Zionists have long forgotten. And number 5. I am already disgusted by the next president of the United States. Why, you may say? Because nothing progressive will get done under that one either. So true. It's not looking good. Let's do an extra, shall we? Let's do a bonus. Number 6, the bonus round. Has anyone read the fine print on the Statue of Liberty? Give me your tired, your poor. What's the rest of it? So that I can fuck them right up the ass. All right, thank you, Joy. Always good to hear from Joy, and nice to be with you. You can get the Frank Factor at thefrankfactor.com, on iTunes, and at podomatic.com. Please join me next time. And until then, I would request that slower traffic, please keep right.
In your face radio. Radio without eating disorders.
Accuse somebody of a felony without being convicted.
I know, and it is not outrageous, and I think it's outrageous for people to act as if you can only speak the way our criminal justice system works.
Drug use.
First smoke marijuana somewhere